Hi friends, today I am going to start a new chapter in Java, that is declarations and access modifiers. In this chapter I am going to explain Java source file structure, import statements, class level modifiers and interfaces. Let's see Java source file structure in this video. A Java source file follow a structured format to ensure that the code is organized, readable and correctly compiled by the Java compiler. The structure includes various components such as package declarations, import statements, class definitions, and method implementations. Let's see an example. Here our Java source file name is main.java, and in this, let's see how the order of components takes place in Java source file. If we use any outer package, then package declaration should be the initial statement in the Java source file. It is optional. If required, you can use. If not required, you can neglect this. But if you use any package, then the declaration of the package should be the first statement in Java source file. Then the next statement is import statements. If you want to import anything like scanner class or anything like array class or anything, it should be the second statement. First is the package and second is the import statements. If you don't import anything, you can neglect this. It is optional. And the third statement is class declaration. In class declaration, we use class keyword and class name. Class name should be any valid Java identifier. And it is a good practice to take upper case letters to start a class name. And inside a class name, we use fields. These fields may be a static variables or instance variables. Then we go for constructor. After constructor, we use user defined methods. Any user defined methods after the constructor. And at last, we see the main method. This main method is the entry point of our Java source file. Whenever we compile and run the Java source file, then the entry point starts from main method. This is how we order the components inside the Java source file. First package, import statements, class declaration, fields, constructor, methods, and main method. Let's see rules for Java source files. The file name must match the public class name. For example, main.java is a source file name. It should contain public class main. The class declaration should be like this. Let's see in VS Code. Here, I have taken class name as main and file name also main.java. Whenever I compile the code, java main.java, it compiles fine. And if you run the code, java main, it runs fine. But if we change the file name, if we change the file name from main to test, here I have changed the file name from main to test. Here the file name is test.java and class name is main. So whenever we compile the code, Java source file name test.java, it raises error and says class main is public. Here the main class is public, should be declared in a file named main.java. It says that our file name should be main.java, not test.java. So it raises a compile time error. So we must use class name and file name should be equal if the class is public. So if I change the name to main, now it works fine. So if I compile the code, it works fine. And to run the code java main, it outputs as main class. It prints main class. So I conclude that the class name and file name should be matched if the class is public. And we'll see another point. Each file can contain multiple classes, but only one public class. Multiple public classes are not allowed in a single Java file. Here, in this Java source file name is main.java. Here we can write any number of classes. So main class, then test class. Here I have written two classes, and two classes are public classes. Public class main and public class test. So if the two classes are public, it raises an error. Let's see what is the error. Here the class name is test. So we go for test.java, Java test.java. Whenever we are compiling, class main is public. Here we given the file name as test, and we have test public class also, but we have another public class main. So our JVM says that, our compiler says that here the public class name is main, so our file name should be main. So it says that class main is public should be declared in a file named as main.java. So whenever we take test.java, it says that class main is public. Where if we take the file name as main.java, again it raises an error. It says test as public. So two public classes are not valid inside a single Java source file. So if we remove the public to the main class, here we have only one public class test. Now it is valid. So if I run the code, java test.java, it compiles fine. So I'll compile once again, java test.java, it compiles fine. So two public classes are not allowed inside a single Java source file. And let's see another point. If there is no public class, we can use any name as class name. Let's see. Here we have two classes. One is main class and one is test class. Here test class is public. If there is no public class inside the Java source file, here two classes are not public. This is a normal class, main is a normal class, and test is a normal class. Then we can use any valid name. Here I have used test.java. So test.java also fine. Java test.java, if I compile the code, it doesn't raise any error. And if I change the test.java to some other name, that is other than any class like helper. If I use helper.java, here helper is not any class name. Here we have only two classes, main and test, and I use it class name as helper. What I say is, if any class is not public, here there is no public class inside a source file. So if there is no any public class, we can use any valid name as a source file name. So if I compile the code, java helper.java, helper.java, it doesn't raise any error. It compiles fine. So you see here, it compiles fine. So what I say is, if there is no public class, we can use any valid identifier as a class name. So here helper.java is fine, and main class, test class are not public. If the main class is public, then the file name should be main.java. If the test class is public, then file name should be test.java. And yeah, it is fine. Let's see some important conclusions. Every Java class gets its own .class file. When you compile a Java program, the compiler generates a separate .class for each class in your code. If our source file contain many classes, that if it is contain 10 classes, it generates 10 .class files. Let's see here. Here, I delete the .class files. Test. Yeah. Here, helper.java is a source file name. Java source file name is helper.java. Whenever we compile helper.java, it creates two .class files, that is main.class file, test.class file. You see here, there is no .class files. So if I compile that java helper.java, Whenever I compile the code, two dot plus files will be generated. See here, main dot plus test dot plus. So here, how many, if we contain 100 classes, then 100 dot plus files is being generated here. That is our first conclusion. And let's see second conclusion. You compile the source, but run the bytecode. You can compile a Java source file .java, but you can only execute its corresponding dot plus file. Let's see. See, whenever you are compiling, that is, if you want to compile this helper.java code, we should use source file name, that is helper.java. Here, to compile, we use java helper.java. We should use source file name at the time of compilation. So it compiles fine. To run, if we run like java helper, if we run like this, it raises an error because whenever we are running, we only run the dot plus files, not the source file. If I run the code, it raises error, could not find or load main class helper. That is class not found exception. To run, we use only dot plus files. That is here to run the main class, main dot class, we use Java main. So if I enter, the output is main. So here both print statements are same. So I use another statement test plus. So I have changed the code. So I have to compile once again java helper.java, and to run this class we use main.class, and to run test class we use test.class at the time of run. Java main used to run the main class, and Java test is used to run the test class. So whenever we are compiling, we use the source file name, and whenever we are running, we use the corresponding dot class file name. To run the main class, we use main dot class file name, and to run the test class, we use test dot class file name. Let's see third conclusion. The main method is a must for execution. Without main method, it raises an error. When you run a Java class, the JVM looks for the main method to execute. If it is missing, you will hit an error at runtime, not compile time. So let's see the example. Here inside the test, I am removing main method. Let's see. To compile helper.java, we use java helper.java. It compiles fine, but to run the main class, here we have main.class. So Java main, it runs main class fine. But whenever we are running test class, so Java test, it raises a runtime exception, says main method not found in class test. Please define the main method as public static void main. It gets a clear error. It says a clear message that main method not found in class test. So main method is mandatory to run the classes in Java source file. And let's see another conclusion. Missing dot plus file, expect an error. If the required dot plus file isn't found, the JVM throws class not found exception at runtime. So let's see an example. Here, if I delete both classes dot plus files, main dot plus file and test dot plus file, and execute the code helper.java, it compiles fine, and here two dot plus files are created. If the test.plus file is missing, if I delete the test.plus file, yeah, now test.plus file is missing. So if I run main.plus file, it runs fine. But if I run test without dot plus file, it raises an error. It says that class not found exception test. Without that class, we can't run the code. So this is our fourth conclusion. And if we want to generate test.class file, we have to again compile the code. So now the test.class file is being generated. Now we can run fine. Java test, if we run test class is the out. Without that class, we can't run the code. It gets a runtime exception. Okay, let's go for exercise. Please pause the video and answer the questions. What is the correct structure of a Java source file? Here, class declaration, package declaration is the first. So in four options, package declaration option is option B. So option B is the correct option. Package, import, class, fields, methods. So option B is the correct option. For easily remembering, you can see that P package, I import, C class, PIC, pick. For easy remembering, we can use the keyword pick, package, import, class. So this is the order in the Java source file. Second question. What happens if a Java class doesn't have main method? It compiles fine, but at the time of running the code, it raises an error. So let's see the options. The program runs without any no. The compiler throws a syntax error no. The JVM throws a runtime error no. Option C is correct. Third question. Which of the following statements about Java source file is true? You can have multiple public classes in one Java file. No, we can have only one public class. But multiple classes we have, but it should not be public. All the classes should not be public. And only single class should be a public. Option B. The file name must match the name of any class in the file. No, it should match with the public class only. If a class is public, it should the file name should match with the public class. Okay, see. You compile the .class file but run the .java file. No, it's reverse. You compile the .java file and run the .class file. Option D. Each Java class generates its own .class file upon compilation. Yeah. Option D is correct. Fourth question. What exception will the Java throw if a .class file is missing at runtime? Class not found exception. So file not found, no, class not found exception. So option B is correct. Fifth question. If a Java source file does not contain a public class, how should it be named? The name may be any Java identifier. It must be any Java identifier. So it must match the name of any class. No, it must be named main.java. No, it can have any valid file name. Valid in the sense a valid identifier. So option C is correct. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe for more videos.